All right. I'm here with Marie. Is that the correct pronunciation? It's not Mary.
Yes, like Marie Osmond.
Like Marie Osmond. Okay, that makes it easy then. With Zoetic Soul, I actually participated in one of her breathwork sessions, and it was amazing. So I had to have her on. I normally dress up for the podcast, and I couldn't think of what to dress up as, so I just put on my eye mask in kind of a new age shirt. This is the best I could do for the session. What do you
Perfect.
think? Do you think I nailed it?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. You got a good
Okay,
vibe.
good.
Sometimes simplicity is the best.
Sometimes, yeah. The other day for the podcast, I had an arch druid on he was like the head of all the druids in Europe and stuff, but I like wore a big robe, like all this stuff, and it was a bit over the top. I thought it would offend him, but he's like, "No, you look cool." So I'm willing to take more risks offending people these days, but this isn't offending you, is it? It's okay.
Not at all. No.
Okay, good.
It
So,
takes a lot to ruffle my feathers these days.
well, we'll see what we can do over the next hour here. But I'm just kidding. Um,
I'm
so,
ready.
breathwork was one of the first times I had, I think, a spiritual experience. I grew up Mormon, and I don't think I ever really got it. And I think it depends on the person what form of spirituality works for them. Some people say breath work is spiritual, some people say it's more physiological. I think it's kind of a mix of both. But I want you to talk about why you got into it. I've seen you've been pretty successful. I follow your Instagrams and see that you've got a full house who are getting into it. Seems like it's taken off. It's
Yeah.
kind of a new hot thing to do. So can you kind of tell me why you got into it and why you keep pursuing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, how it started was I'm an oncology nurse by trade. So I still work in oncology. I
Oh,
think I love about being trained as a nurse is that we are definitely taught to take care of the whole person. So I've always had a holistic approach to my care for my patients. Breath has always been something I've naturally used in my practice, just with my patients when they
oh,
were having a hard time, like coping with like just the emotional part of cancer. I would sit down and we would do deep breathing together, dealing with pain because my patients would have a lot of pain. They couldn't have pain medication. And so we would do breathing. It just always came natural to me. And then I've had 4 kids. I did natural childbirth with all 4 of my children. It
wow.
started with I did some natural childbirth classes, and then I read a couple books, actually one book mainly, and went in and I was naturally drawn to my breath. And this is something looking
Mm.
back, I can see how I've used it. But to get me through all of that, that's what I used. This is going to be a little bit TMI, but I'm going to share it anyways. So, when
No,
you're doing
please.
natural childbirth, you really have to learn how to work with your body, and you have to learn to really how to relax your cervix, because a lot of women, when you hear, they're like, oh my god, I got an epidural and then I dilated to like a 10, and it's because you're not working with your body and learning how to relax. And breath was how I did that. I remember I'd have these contractions
Wow.
and I would use my breath and I would focus it to where I needed to relax, and I'd move my energy into different parts of my body. So like that tension and that pain, I'm like, okay, I'm going to move it here, but I'm going to relax it here. And so I did that
No
once and
way.
I was able to repeat it times times 4. So
Times
that
four.
was,
Wow.
I guess, my couple little like steps into the water of breath work. And then let's see, my oldest is 18. So 16 years later, I had, well, might have been a little earlier than that, maybe 14. I did a mushroom trip. Um,
Ah.
and in that mushroom journey, I did a hero's dose. So
Oh, the
I
hero
went to
dose.
the
Yeah.
moon and back. Yes. I mean, I had ego death and everything. It was
Oh
honestly the
no.
most life-changing experience I've ever had in my life.
Super
It literally
dissociation.
changed my yeah, well, it really changed my focus and it really helped me align to, I mean, I think when you do any psychedelics, and even breath work is in the same realm, you
For
learn a
sure.
lot of things and you have a choice. You know what I mean? It teaches you things, and you always have that choice on the other side. Are you going to take what these things teach you, or you can ignore it? It's really that's where the work begins, is after these experiences. But anyways, in this mushroom journey, I want to say it was probably, I mean, you lose sense of time, but I want to say it was probably near the end, maybe 3/4 of the way through. I remember being in what felt like a cave, and I could see shadows of people around this cave. I couldn't see faces, it was only shadows.
Wow.
And they taught me how to breathe. Um,
No way.
I Oh, it was insane. And I remember, like, I learned like a breath holds. I was learning like how breath could do things for my body. And specifically in the breath work that I practice, we do breath holds. And that was a lot of what I was taught in my breathwork journeys, or in my breathwork in the mushroom trip.
In the mushroom trip.
And so when I found Soma breath, it really called to me, because that was something that I had been taught by what felt like my ancestors. I mean, you don't know what it is, but it felt like someone that was, or something that was trying to teach me. I remember when I went into my mushroom trip, I was like, mushroom, just tell me what you need to tell me. Like, that was my mantra for that whole thing. And that was one of those things that I learned. So I did that. And then I want to say it was probably maybe a year and a half later, maybe year and a half later. I went to the Energy Healing Conference. It's a local conference here in Utah. And I went and did a breathwork class. I was like, oh, because I had done this mushroom trip, and I was like, oh, I want to know what this is all about, you know? So I went and did this breathwork class, and it was a holotropic. So it was that really fast breathing. It
Yeah.
was really intense. I remember, in fact, I just did a breathwork just a couple days ago. And like, when you do these really intense ones, it's like the integration. It's just like, I remember I was just like silent in the car. Coming back, I was like, whoa, that was something else. And then I was like, this is something that I can do. I didn't even know that this was something that you could teach, something that you could practice on a daily basis. Like that was never a connection point that I had made. So I was like, oh my God, this is something I can do. Cause it's kind of a full circle moment for me, where I had used it throughout a lot of points in my life. And so I'm a research junkie. I love to research. I love to learn a lot
Yeah.
of things. So I researched a lot of different breathwork techniques, because there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
And I found Soma Breath, and I really liked its balance. Um, I like to say I'm not just a one trick pony. Like, we have a lot of different things we can do as instructors, and I really liked that I could offer. Like, I most recently started doing breath work for cancer patients at Utah Cancer Specialists. So,
Oh,
which is
no
really
way.
important to me. And it's cool to have that full circle moment as well. But I love that breath work can be very healing, in many different ways. Like, it can be trauma release, but it can also offer peace and calm to your body as well, depending on the practice that you pick. And so that's what really called me to Soma Breath. And so I've been doing it for almost 3 years now. And I
Wow.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember reading Johns Hopkins does that for its cancer patients. They do breath work. I think they do sound baths too. But no, breath
Uh-huh.
work's great because it doesn't require any drugs, legal or otherwise, to kind of get to that zone.
Absolutely.
There's no
Yeah.
uh, there's no religious restrictions that I'm aware of. Although, if you get people high enough on your Soma trips, maybe you'll end up in the Word of Wisdom or something pretty soon
Well,
here.
I'm also an ex-Mormon, John, and I actually had
Oh, okay,
someone in a
there you go.
class once. I actually had someone in a class say that, and they're Mormon, they're practicing, and they said, one thing that I really felt, they're like, I am a child of God. And I'm like, hey, if that's what, like, I think religion, some people need it, and that's great. I'm like, it's like, you do you, but I love that people can find these enlightening things and feel connected to that higher power, if that's what they feel, that God is their higher power. I think that's awesome that we're able to amplify those feelings of love and gratitude for people.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's a spirituality enhancer one way or the other. Breath work. I think it opens up
Absolutely.
parts of your brain that you kind of block off, and without it,
Hmm.
you don't you don't really feel as spiritual and in touch with yourself. Didn't they do some study where they like stuck some kind of metal rod either on the brain or next to the brain or something, and it like made people less spiritual or something like that? It made them
I
more
haven't heard that,
atheist.
but that wouldn't surprise me.
So I wonder if it's the same part of the brain that's opened up when you're doing breath work, where we all have a
So they
spiritual
actually
side
say it's
to
your
us.
pineal gland.
It's the
Yeah, it says
pineal
your
gland.
pineal gland is what opens up. And that's where DMT
Okay.
lives. I mean, so I'm just going to put this out here. A lot of breathwork people like to say that we release DMT in breathwork. That is a theory. We can't 100% say that. We don't know a lot about DMT in the body. We don't like it. Most of it is
Yeah.
based off theory. We don't have a lot of actual facts. But with that being said, and having done psychedelics myself, I can say I have had many psychedelic like experiences in these, and they theorize that when you're doing breath work, especially some specific kinds, can really activate that pineal gland and can help to
Mm,
release that DMT. So,
yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably close enough that you could call it empirical, but not measurable, perhaps, because I
correct.
think DMT in the brain, it's such a minimal amount, and it doesn't light up on any MRI scans, right? So the best you could do is like stick a needle in the pineal gland and suck it out while they're in a they're
Right.
in doing breath work, but
You
then you'll probably kill the person. So it's not something
No,
that we'll ever
totally.
discover. Probably there's no more evil science going on since World War
Right.
II.
You
So
can
all that evil
see
stuff.
on an M Yeah, you can see on an MRI scan what people's brains are doing in psychedelic experiences. And actually, speaking of Soma Breath, they actually at Cambridge University in England, which is where our founder is from, is England. They actually did a comparison, and they could actually see that it was like it mimicked psychedelic like experiences when they did a 28-day program
Cool.
with Soma Breath specifically.
It's
Yeah.
the same
So,
type of thing.
I mean, they've seen that. Yeah. They can see that the brain lights up in the same places.
Lights up in the same places. Do you know if they've done? Although
Mhm.
no, I do know that. I think I read a paper where the brain waves shift. I think they shift to theta. I don't know. I don't know a ton about brain
Yes.
waves, but right, is that what it is? Okay, yeah,
Yes, it is.
pretty gnarly. It's crazy how I wonder who was the first person to figure this stuff out, because this stuff dates back forever, and maybe
It's the
somebody was like
yogis.
hyper. Is it the yogis? Yeah, but
Oh,
how
yeah.
did they
Because so when
know?
you talk about Soma breath is all pranayama. It's all based off of these things that have been around for thousands of years. But what we, at least in Soma breath, we've structured it in a way to be able to have healing, also enhance your feelings. But I mean, if you look at yogis, there's no one tracks how old they are, but there's a lot of people that say there's a lot of old yogis that have lived around for a long time, and a lot of them are practicing breath because that's one of your limbs of yoga is pranayama. And so just doing basic breathwork practices is one of those things that can help you live a long life. And one thing that um, at least they brought up in our training, when you look at animals that live the longest typically have the lower respiration rates. And so when you look at,
Interesting.
like, I think dogs are a good example. Dogs breathe fairly fast. Same with rats. Rats especially, they breathe very, very fast, and they only have a couple year lifespan. Dogs breathe faster than humans. That's one of the reasons they theorize why they don't last as long. But if I remember right, it's the mole rat that lives like underground. Like they go into intermittent hypoxic states all the time where they only breathe a couple times a minute and they last forever. Same with like elephants. They
Yeah,
last
yeah,
a long time and they are low breathers. And so that's one of the
yeah.
things that they talk about. So, especially in pranayama, I can speak for myself when I'm really good in my practice and I'm practicing every day. I remember in my first year of solid practice, I could feel my respiration rate had lowered. And I could tell that my breathing was more conscious, and I could tell a big difference in the way that my energy shifted in just daily practice of breath work.
That's really cool. Yeah, you're speaking my language now. I did my PhD at the University of Texas, and one of the most famous naked mole rat researchers was there, and Google ended up sniping her from us. Google Calico, their longevity company. But no, in the basement,
Yeah.
she had a huge naked mole rat colony, and yeah, they were studying them, and hypoxia, and yeah, just like being in that low oxygen environment makes sense to me, because yeah, the
Hmm.
faster you breathe, the faster your heart rate's going, and I think a lot of organisms, not all, but it's based on how many times your heart beats. That's your clock, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, mice,
Well,
they
they're
boom, boom,
they're
boom, boom,
both
boom,
very
beat super fast,
connected.
and
Uh-huh. Yeah. So when you breathe in, I
yeah,
hope I'm saying this right, but when you breathe in, your heart rate goes up, and then when you breathe out, your heart rate should go down. And this is how they measure. This is the big trendy term, your heart rate variability, your HRV. That's a big trendy
mm,
thing right now that people are looking, and it's your balance between your sympathetic and your parasympathetic, and how your heart rate and how your heart is able to adapt between the two. And this is why breath work works so well, because it's all right here in your chest, so your breath and your heart are intertwined together. And so if
yeah.
you can control your breath, you can actually help to control your nervous system as well.
So you're lengthening your life by not hyperstimulating your pulmonary system, the blood pumping through your body.
Well, it's all a balance, because when you do these breath
Yeah,
works, right, there are times that you are putting yourself into a sympathetic state. But the question is, can you balance yourself and bring yourself down? And you can do both
yeah,
through breath. But the question is do you know how to utilize those tools so you can get yourself in and out of those? Because they both have their
yeah,
place. Like, we have to be able to be in stress states, but how do we get ourselves out? That's the key. And that's where most people live, is they're living in these high stress sympathetic tone, which is your fight or flight and freeze. Most people are living there and they don't know how to get out. And so breath work, especially, what I really like about Soma breath is I can really teach people how to get out of that sympathetic. While I enjoy holotropic and it's that really fast breathing, that's only a
yeah.
small piece of breath work and what we can do for people. And that's why I really like this other part. And especially when I go help cancer patients and I do the breath work with them, it's like, I don't want to be putting them into that sympathetic
Yeah.
stress state.
I was gonna say, yeah,
That's the last thing I
make
want
them
to do.
make them sign a waiver first, right? Before you get them on
No,
holotropic.
totally. Yeah. And so I like that I can offer a balance and offer something else for people to help them balance their nervous system and teach them how to balance their nervous system as well.
Yeah, yeah. So would you say Soma is a little bit more for kind of balancing the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, whereas holotropic is like trying to get you into a what's the opposite of hypoxia? Uh, anyway,
Well, it's a
I
different
guess.
kind of hypoxia because you're altering the CO2 and oxygen levels. So it's a different kind of hypoxia that you're doing. Um,
Okay.
but what I do like about Soma, I can go into both realms. Like, I can push someone really hard and we can do that really fast breathing to induce those states of sometimes usually it's like trauma, emotional healing. You can do that, but there's a lot more you can do as well. The one thing I really do like about Soma Breath, we're all about increasing your vibe. That's what your vibrational energy.
Mm.
Niraj, when he started Soma Breath, he's also known as the renegade pharmacist. And so he was working as a pharmacist. He hated his life. He hated working where he was working. He had Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, um, was miserable. And so he left his job and he went to India and he did breath work and he healed himself. I mean, just getting
Wow.
himself out of that stressful environment. And then what he always wanted to do in his life was be a DJ. So after he left India, he went and worked with Wim Hof. And then he blended the two worlds together of what he learned under Wim Hof and what he learned in pranayama and yoga, in India, and he created this. And so what I really love is we want to help people live their best life. So we do a lot of neurosomatic and neuro-linguistic programming. So we learn how to give you messages to reprogram your subconscious mind to be able to help you to increase your vibe and be able to live a better life. I think trauma release has its place, but I want to be able to offer something more, and like, how can we get you past, because the trauma is always going to be there. It's like, so
Yeah.
hopefully you can work through the trauma, but how do we get you to amplify your life and how do we get you to living your best life? And that's what I really love about Soma, is it's about how can we get you to live the life that you've been dreaming of. And so a lot of the stuff that we do in our meditations, our cueing, is a way to help people in a way of reprogramming their mind to help them think a little bigger and think past those things of, okay, you've had this happen to you. Now what's next? What can we
Yeah.
do to get you like on the path of where you want to go?
Yeah. I like that a lot. And it's similar to what happens during like LSD or something like that. Probably not as intense, but where you have to
No,
face those
not definitely
things.
not as intense.
All right. Yeah. Where you have to
Yeah.
face those things, and whether you like it or not. And probably with breath work, it's a little more mild, and those thoughts and things will come
Yeah.
to you, but you're probably more equipped to face the trauma. And I know with like LSD and stuff, I made the mistake of not riding the wave. I like to be in control of my
Oh,
mental
those waves are
faculties, and
rough.
whoops, yeah, you have to ride it. And I think with breath work and
Mm-hmm.
trauma too, I think it's kind of teaches you that you have to do that, otherwise it's going to hurt. And so you ride that
Yeah.
wave. And then in life too,
Mm-hmm.
so once you leave that session, you're like, oh, now I know how to handle the trauma and the skeletons
Absolutely.
and whatever else that's still nagging at your
Honestly, that's the one thing.
subconscious.
That's the one thing I love about all the different breathwork modalities. It's all about pushing yourself past your comfort zone. Because if you're doing the holotropic, breathing that fast for an hour is hard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like where
It
you're just
hurts.
breathing and breathing, and it's hard and it hurts, and you've got a lot of stuff. And I mean, and you always have that choice. You always tend to hit that, and even in psychedelics, you hit that wall, and it's like not necessarily a wall, but you like a bend in the road. It's like you have a
Yeah.
choice, and
Yep.
it's like, are you going to push past that, or are you going to pull back and maybe? And some people, that's their space for that day, and that's totally fine. But that's what I love about breath work. Whether whatever modality you're doing, it's all about pushing yourself past that comfort zone and growing and getting better than you were before.
Yeah. Pushing past whatever it is that's bothering you. Well, what's interesting with a lot of this stuff
Mm-hmm.
is, as a nurse, maybe you can attest to this, but I found physical ailments too. It's not that it fixes the physical ailments, but it identifies them better. Like when I was doing breath work, um, I could feel like a pain in my lower back. And it was basically a sign that I'd been working out too much. And you don't really feel those things until you get in touch with your soma, your spiritual side or whatever, because you're probably too activated maybe all the time. Maybe the adrenaline's pumping too much. But once you can get into that sympathetic zone, with that healing zone, you can feel, oh, I'm overdoing it. My legs are sore and my back is sore, but I'm in this epinephrine, adrenaline fueled state all the time. So I can never feel that I'm hurting myself. And then I'm like, oh, I need to fix my form and I'm damaging it. It it's kind of funny. I know a lot of medical professionals who get into this stuff. And I know a lot of it's not as empirical as, like you said, the DMT thing you can't really prove. But I think medical professionals see that the the futility in some drugs and how they only work for some people and that kind of stuff. Whereas breath work, most people are, if they at least make an effort, they're going to get something out of it, right? Has that been your experience?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know.
Yeah.
In fact, I went to a big breathwork event on Sunday, and I could tell I had a lot of something to purge in my body. So I love how you can. I don't know what it was, but that was one of my intentions. As I was like, I could feel like I physically had something blocking me, and one of my intentions was to help me let that go. And yes, it did.
It let
And
it
the thing that was
go.
interesting with this was actually not a very this. So we did like similar to his name's Tim Morrison. He's in Australia, and he has his own Spiritus Breathwork, which was what I went to. Great event, by the way. If any of you ever, he's in a U.S. tour, so if you get a chance to go to his event, please do because he is great. But we did a restorative breath with cacao and sound, and that was actually more powerful for me that night than doing the breath. Like I had so much more like purging and healing in that than I did. So you never know what it is that's going to break you open, But back to your question about medical professionals, yes, they definitely are. And one of the reasons is to get sciencey and geeky on you is
Please.
so we have our autonomic systems. So our brain will function on its own and help with heart rate, breath, digestion, and making sure all of our organs are working every day. And we don't have to think about it, right? Breath is the only one of those functions that we can manipulate. We can't
Oh.
manipulate anything else, but we can through breath. So breath is the tool that, if you believe in a higher power that created us or however, but this is the tool we've been given to help our bodies. And so breath work is a way for us to learn how can we heal our bodies. And what a lot of us breath workers say, and I believe it with all of my core, is that breath is the bridge between the body and the mind, because
Mm.
we can get to a lot of places with our breath, but that's what our breath here is meant to do. And so if people want to learn and want to use it, they definitely can. But it's funny because I work with two physicians in my office, and I told them that I was doing this breath work. They're like, breath work, what the hell is breath work? Most people don't. I mean, I would say most physicians don't know, but we're finding
No.
more. And this is what I tell them. And they're like, I never thought of it that way. And these are some of the smartest people I know when you're
Yeah.
talking book smart. But it's funny that at least in like medical training, no one's taught this. And not only that, I can speak as a medical professional. Like if I have someone with a low respiratory rate, we're like, oh no, what's wrong? Like they got to be at like 16 to 24. And it's like, no, not really. Actually, a slower respiratory rate, if they're like chill and calm, that's great. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting. But I think that's just a lot of like, we're starting to see a bigger shift back into Eastern medicine in general. It's slow, but it's slowly making its way in. But the hard thing with Eastern medicine, and I think where we're going to see a lot of problems, at least from a Western focus, from what I see, is that there's no money to be made, right? Like
Yeah.
this is the problem. Like with whether you're talking psychedelics, you're talking breath work, and all of this, we're giving tools for people to heal themselves. Like there's nothing better for me as a breathwork facilitator. If I can give someone a plan, they go home and I never see them again and they're doing great, I've done my job. And that is
Yeah.
awesome. Like if I can give them the tools to never come back. But that's not how medicine works, right?
No.
It's here's the band-aid. It's never root cause analysis. It's like, and that's how our doctors are trained. So we're getting better, but I think we're still on the beginning part of this curve. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's cheaper to prescribe somebody Xanax. Well, not cheaper; it's more profitable. So I misspoke, but it's more profitable to treat the symptoms, not the disease, because they can. I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose necessarily, but I think the arm of
No,
capitalism
I don't
does.
think they are either. They're following their training.
Yeah, swing that way. Unfortunately, with drugs and everything, and it's easier, and it's a quick fix, because a breathwork session, that's 2 hours or an
Yeah.
hour or whatever, and popping a pill is like
Yeah.
5 seconds, and it's like, oh, and people who are already stressed and stuff, maybe they don't have time to go do the breath work, but it's right there, and you can do it at
Yeah.
home. It's basically free or cheap, and I
Yeah.
I do find doing it in a group setting is better, though. Have you seen that, or can people do it on their own
Yes,
to
I agree.
equal effect?
I've done I've done both. So I do one-on-one clients as well. The one-on-one clients, like I build personalized breathwork journeys for people. So if they're wanting to deal with certain issues, or um, we use a little bit of Ayurvedic medicine as well in our programs for our coaching. And so I do one-on-ones. They definitely have their place, but I do agree. I love the group and the collective.
Yeah.
I love hearing the breath around me. Like, I think it's because now I'm like a breathwork facilitator, so listening to breath is just like very relaxing and calming. So I really like that. But there's also a time and a place, because I've added to my repertoire since the class you came to, John, is I have the silent headphones. I'm not sure if you've had any classes with that, where you can listen
Mm-mm.
to the music in headphones. So you can still have the group experience, but you can go deeper, because something that's sometimes
Oh,
nice
that's
when people are
interesting.
either alone or they have the silent headphones is that sometimes it gets them more out of their head. Because sometimes when people are listening to things going around, they might get in their head and they're like, oh my God, am I doing this right? Oh, well, they're doing this. Do I need to do it? So sometimes people can get distracted in the group environment. So
Mm,
I'll do some classes with these headphones because, especially if I'm wanting to do a really deep and introspective journey, I find that sometimes doing that where it's still in the group, but you're also kind of doing it solo can be beneficial as well.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel that people are really unique when it comes to spiritual stuff, and it depends on the person what works and what doesn't, and because that's very personal.
Yeah.
And like I said, with growing up Mormon and then doing the breath work, I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand like the feeling that people got in church or whatever else. It's like, oh,
Totally.
that's what they're doing. But, they got it through that. And I was interviewing a woman who does relationship coaching, and she brought something up to me known as
Mhm.
limbic resonance. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it's
I haven't.
basically they're trying to put a science behind syncing up with those around you or those next to you.
Ah.
And I need to read up a little bit more on it, but apparently they're pretty serious about it, where they think there's really like your limbic system syncs up, and your heart's kind of beat in rhythm, and basically it's a real
Mhm.
thing, whether it's like music or, but yeah, I know when I did LSD, I felt that times a million. I was like, wow, I'm synced up with the people in the room, and you could really feel it. And I feel that's what happens
Oh,
with
yeah.
group worship and with breath work, right? Because you're like, oh
Mhm.
wow, I'm syncing
Yeah.
up with everybody in the class, and I'm feeding off their energy, and they're feeding off of mine. And yeah, that's why
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I think so for some people especially, it's almost like the same thing as like a group worship session, but you're also doing breath work where you're opening up a big part of your brain. Definitely the vasculature opens up, right? When you're doing breath work, I assume all that blood is
Oh,
pumping
for sure.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So uh would you mind sharing one of your, you don't have to if you don't want to, but one of your clients' most interesting breakthroughs? Is there somebody who really had a life-changing experience? Because me personally, I had a pretty life-changing experience. I was like, oh, spirituality, I understand now. Because I was like a hardcore atheist. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still kind of atheist, but like, but as far as like spirituality, I just thought everyone was a lunatic walking around, and they're just imagining things. But it opened up a part of my brain that I feel was dormant, and it's something
Mhm.
that I feel people should look into more. But have you had anybody like that who they really improved somehow or changed their outlook on life?
Yeah. The one that comes to mind, I did a retreat down in Boulder, Utah. When was that? It was in August of last year. Um, and it was our final breathwork journey. And this one was a really intense one. It's actually one of my favorites that I do if I really want to push people. It's 5 rounds, and the last round is in fact, I did this with a group of breathwork facilitators the other day, and they were like, "That was hard." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
Yeah, it's supposed
But
to be.
anyways, at the end, right at the end, she oh, I'm gonna cry. It was beautiful. She said that she went back to when she was a kid with her parents on the farm.
Wow.
And she said, I remember what it feels like to be loved.
Oh my
And it was
gosh.
so powerful because it was, and it was so, I, it was just amazing to hear that. I mean, you never know because a lot of people don't share a lot always. And when you do these breath work, I mean, I don't share a lot. It usually takes me like a day to be able to process all the things that I experience in breath work. So sometimes you don't hear a lot, but then it was just beautiful to be able to hear that someone was able to. Because what I really love about doing breath work, I really want people to hopefully leave feeling enlightened. Well, not necessarily enlightened, but lighter. That's always one of my goals is to hopefully they can feel a little lighter and a little positivity. And I loved that she's like, I forgot what that felt like. And I forgot, because I think, if I remember right, I think her parents or one of her parents died when she was young. And so she's like,
Oh
I forgot
gosh.
how much I was loved. And
Yeah.
it was beautiful. And
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
that
Kind
was
of
that's
bittersweet.
probably one of my most favorite stories. Yeah. But
It kind of
she was so
unlocked
grateful. And
that.
she came up to me later. Yeah. And she said, thank you for helping me get there and remember that. And so that was probably
That's
my favorite
that's really
experience
cool.
that I've had. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how this stuff can unlock those things. You wouldn't think that it would
Hmm.
be able to. Yeah, I actually talked to a woman who does the Mayan cacao ceremonies, and she integrates breath work as well. But yeah, I looked into the science behind it. Apparently, it's super loaded in magnesium, and what
Hmm.
was the other one? It starts with a T.
It's
Uh,
theanine, I think.
Threonine. Yeah, there
Something
it
like
is.
that.
Yeah,
Theanine,
yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
L-theanine. L-theanine or threonine. Anyway, but yeah, it that on its
I think
own
it's
induces
threonate,
euphoria.
actually.
Threonate. I don't think it's
I
threonate
think
because there's
so.
magnesium
Is it not?
L-threonate, or maybe it is. We should look it
I
up.
don't know.
I
Here,
feel
I'll look
dumb
it up
not
while you're
remember.
talking.
Yeah, please. But apparently that induces euphoria on its own, and so it's really cool looking at these ancient practices that you think were just some crazy voodoo that these people were doing, but in reality it has a kinetic
Oh yeah.
pharmacodynamic effect, and it's actually, they're like, it's
We
actually
were
something good.
close. Theobromine.
Theobromine. I knew
Theobromine.
that.
That's what it is. We were both
That's what it is. we were both,
dancing around
we were
it.
getting there. We were getting there.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
yeah,
I've
it's
done 2 cacao ceremonies, and I can say those have been very powerful. Like, I did one on Sunday, and then I did one probably 6
oh
months
wow.
ago. No, it was probably 4 months ago. Um, and they are and they say this cacao is very heart opening, and it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
really expands your, I guess, your love and your heart chakra, if I were to say anything. But I've
Yeah.
had really powerful experiences with cacao, especially if
Yeah.
you do it within a ceremony and you're doing it. And I think it's the same with psychedelics. When you do these kind of things, I think with intention and you go into it instead of just like doing it to do
Just
it,
doing
I
it.
think you can
Yeah.
have really profound experience. But yeah, no, cacao, I've had amazing experiences with cacao. In fact, that's one
And you're
thing I'm
coming in
looking to add
fresh.
to my repertoire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you do you sweeten it, or do you use, because I know the raw the cacao the better, because that's where you get all the good stuff when it's not super
Yeah.
processed, but it's also super bitter too. So I mean, you can sweeten it and
So,
it's
I
still
mean,
not
I
gonna.
drink, yeah, I drink black coffee, so I have no problem with
Oh,
bitter. Um,
you're all
and
about it.
like when I buy chocolate, I buy 85% chocolate bars from Trader
Oh
Joe's.
gosh.
So for me doing cacao, I'm like, I got this. It's not a problem for me. I don't need to sweeten it that much. So yeah,
Stuff
I actually I like the bitter taste. So that's,
okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying your clients may not, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh," but you're like, take your bitter medicine. It's good for you. Quit your boobing.
I know,
This
right?
is the
This is the
only way
hard you're
this will
working
work.
through today.
This is so hard to work through. I think cacao actually means heart or something like that in Mayan. I
It
remember
might.
looking that up a long time ago. It's something like the word actually means something about heart or ritual or something like that. But
Well, on
yeah.
this thing I looked up, it said energetic qualities is considered a plant medicine and is good for the heart chakra. And that has been
Oh,
my
really?
experience literally every time.
Yeah.
It is, it's amazing.
I need to do it. I actually bought all the stuff for it, but I haven't gotten around to doing it. I need to do it with my family. My screaming kids might interrupt it a little bit, but just kind of zone them out for a little bit, and it'll be fine.
I would highly recommend doing a ceremony. In the
A full
ceremonies I've done,
ceremony.
they usually do like they usually will do like a chakra cleansing, and it's really grounding and really like it's beautiful. So I would try to find someone to do a ceremony for if you haven't done it before, so
That's
you can have
cool.
a really good
Okay.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually made the not made. I had the woman who I interviewed make a ceremony for me. It's on my website. I need to clean it up a little bit. I'm still making it or whatever, but so it's accessible. But I need
Yeah.
to do it. I feel bad because I haven't done it myself, and I'm like trying to pitch it to people. But it's on the list of things I'm
Totally.
trying to get out to everyone. Yeah, where did you do the cacao ceremony? You don't live too far from me, so maybe I can
So,
use a
well, I
similar
did
person.
cacao with Tim Morrison this recently,
Oh,
and then
okay.
it was actually a fellow Soma breath instructor. She actually lives in Chile, and I have trained with her before. And she did a virtual one, and so we all made our own cacao at
Virtual.
home, and she did a virtual ceremony. Yeah, did a virtual ceremony. I
Wow.
did it in my living room. It was great. So
Okay.
I think having a virtual one is definitely good. I think just having someone to guide you through the experience before you drink cacao, because you usually, at least in the ones that I've done, you don't just drink it all at once. You do it with each chakra. So they'll give you
Okay.
some cues with each chakra starting at your root, and then you move up and you take a sip with each one. And so you're not just like bottoms up.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like in succession. That's really cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I talked with a Chinese qigong master. He actually has a PhD in Chinese medicine. Really cool. But he was talking about there's a few different papers that came out not too long ago, and they were in Nature. I was so surprised. I was like, wow, I wouldn't think Nature would touch some of this Eastern medicine stuff. But they were basically mapping chakras and kind of like what they would relate to as far as like organs and things like that. And apparently, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, there's no spinning lotus flower in your gut, but a lot of it is mapped to different organs, and they were trying their best, right? And some of it is pretty
Yeah.
pretty good and pretty close. And I think there's a lot of wisdom behind it that stuff like we don't really understand necessarily, but you can kind of feel. And so it's there, and I think
Yeah.
it'll be proven later. But like you said, there's a resurgence of this stuff, especially with the Eastern medicine. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe they were actually onto something with a lot of these things, and they require further investigation. I know bioelectricity is one that started to take off. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but they've been doing a
I'm
lot of
not
research
familiar with
on.
that.
It's fascinating, but they can shoot electrical currents. I think it's in nematodes, or maybe it was salamanders. It was
Mm.
some simpler organism, but they would like chop off body parts of these creatures, and then they would shoot it with an electrical signal, and it would start growing different organs based on what electrical signal they would
Interesting.
shoot through it. So it's kind of like chi, right? Where like they knew there was
Yeah.
something flowing through you, but they didn't know what it was. And so with this, it's probably bioelectricity, like you know. A magic explanation for bioelectricity, but it's actually, yeah, it's energy flowing through your body literally, and it's determining what
Absolutely.
proteins are translated, and what
Mm-hmm.
histones get unwound, and what organs are growing. Yeah, it was pretty disturbing. Like I need to look up which organism it was, but it started like growing a head out of its tail and all this stuff, because based on the electrical signal, crazy, right? It would unwind the histones and decide what would get translated and then or transcribed and then translated. And so yeah, a lot of this stuff, just because we can't prove it, doesn't mean that people, you know, actually, noticed it and felt it and that kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
fascinating. Mm.
That
So
is really cool. It's crazy the
yeah,
stuff that we're finding.
yeah. I think there's a lot of hidden gems in some of this Eastern medicine that we haven't uncovered, because it is very, they couldn't do
Mm-hmm.
a lot of tests, right? But they could observe and figure out something was going on. I am curious about acupuncture. I don't know. As a nurse, maybe you've come across that. Do you think that's all placebo, or do you think there's actually tapping into different?
So I used to work at Huntsman. I used to work at Huntsman Cancer Hospital, and they actually offered acupuncture to patients up at
Yeah, I
Huntsman.
believe it.
I've
Yeah,
personally done acupuncture. I've only done it once or twice. Like, I believe it's a thing. I
you think
haven't
it's a thing?
necessarily had it work for me yet. Yeah. I mean, it's the same idea as what you're talking about of like the energy being connected to chakras. Because what acupuncture does is it clears your chi, your energy
Yeah,
lines, your meridians. I think they're all like, I think this is all related and it's all like means kind of the same things. And so, do I think it can work? Absolutely. I've only done it twice, so I'm not sure I'm the best person, but I mean, but not only that, this is another thing. If it's placebo and it works for someone, awesome. I was like, keep
that's
doing it.
yeah, that's just as good, if not better, and a lot of stuff.
I
Yeah,
know, right?
yeah, yeah. In my
If sticking needles
pharmaco,
in you is going to make you feel better,
do it. Find the placebo that works
I
for
know,
you,
right?
because that's just who we are as people. I don't think breath work is as placebo-y as some of this other stuff, though. I'm pretty sure it's not.
I
And
don't think so
the
either.
MRI scans and stuff, yeah, because like charging moon crystals and things like that, that's probably mostly placebo. I don't think the moon's got some hidden energy in the core shooting stuff out into your crystals, but uh breath work, definitely, yeah, it has a lot more science backing of the less traditional
Absolutely.
Western medicines, definitely.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree.
so you do other forms of breath work, though? So you do soma, holotropic? Do you do the Wim Hof exclusively stuff, or
So within Soma, we do a lot of different things. So in Soma, I can do holotropic ish breath work, like we can do that.
okay?
Um, I would say Soma breath is similar to Wim Hof. I always joke with my students, I'm like, we're Wim Hofy. So we have a little bit of the flair of Wim Hof, but I will tell you, the breath holds in Soma breath are harder than any other practice that I've done because I like to go to other breathwork practitioners in in Salt Lake and Utah.
Yeah.
One, I like to try different things. I think they can sometimes give good ideas for what I could maybe try in my breathwork facilitators. But I also just like to, it's about helping the community because we're all trying to help each other and help people. So I will usually go, but I can tell you in all the breathworks I've gone to, I think the Kumbhaka holds, which is the pranayama term, are by far the most challenging in Soma breath.
Mm.
But I find that that's where the beauty is. I can tell you, I actually got to train with Niraj about a year ago. I got to go to Colombia and I trained with him and I did a
Wow.
2 hour breathwork session. At least I think it was 2 hours. It was a long one. And it matched some of my psychedelic experiences.
No
Like
way.
my third eye completely opened and I remember I had like this channel of light coming out of my head going to the universe and I felt like I was just getting like it was amazing. And that was just from doing breath work. Um but and the thing that's really cool when we do the Soma breath technique, especially when you do these kind of long ones and more powerful ones, you can get to a breathless state where you kind of lose your urge to breathe. It's a really cool place to
Wow.
be and your mind and everything just becomes so peaceful and calm. And I got to that point in that breathwork journey and I think we were doing the Antara Kumbhaka, which is where you breathe in and you hold. I sat there for what felt like 5 minutes, just not breathing.
No
It
way.
was so cool. But and I had like and being in those silent places where you're not breathing, this is where it's funny that breath, the presence of breath and the lack of breath can bring you to amazing places.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of my most powerful in a breath work was when Niraj did that. It was amazing. Like
Does it
I was in tears by the end. But for me, it was just I felt so much love from the universe. Like that's what it was. Like that connection that I had, I was like, it was just pure love. It was amazing.
does it always take a long time to get into those states? Or is it possible to do that within like 15 minutes? Or does the universe require your time to get the results? There's no shortcuts to heaven.
I would say it does take time because so the breath is the bridge between the body and the mind. So there's a couple things you can do, but in order to get into the mind, you have to work through your body. And you
Oh,
do that through using breath. In Soma, we also use movement. So movement is a good way to kind of you can activate it or make it move a little faster sometimes. But I would say from my experiences, I would say you need at least 30 minutes to really get to the heightened levels. I'd say you need 30 minutes to an hour, but I think it really and each person's a little different. Like some people get there a lot faster than others.
really?
But I would say 30 minutes is probably on the low end. So I think you do need to dedicate time if you're wanting to have those really powerful experiences. But sometimes, like I do breathwork practice. I mean, I'm not perfect, mind you. I try to do 10 to 20 minutes every day.
Every day.
And there are times that I can have, there are times that I have really powerful experiences in those simple moments of 10, 20 minutes where I can just like, because it's meditation, it's a
Yeah.
breathwork meditation where I can, especially what I love about the Kumbhaka holds where you hold your breath on your after you exhale or when you inhale. I find that those places are really places of beauty because it really gets you out of your head and you can kind of sit in that calm. And I can have a lot of really good ideas or have any good insights about like, oh, maybe this is why this is going on in my life. So it doesn't always have to be like blow your socks off and get a home run out of the ballpark. It doesn't always have to be that. Sometimes the simple things that you can do daily can be really powerful as well.
Sufficient. Do you do it like in the morning or just whenever you have time? Do you have like a set schedule?
That's usually my goal. So what I try to do in Soma breath, we usually well when I went and trained with Niraj, we actually the whole thing is you get to do what Niraj does. You live like Niraj lives. And
Uh,
so what we would do is we would wake up, we'd go to the gym, we'd exercise, we'd hit the sauna. We'd actually did breath work in the sauna, which was really
oh
cool.
boy.
And then we'd
Yeah.
do a cold plunge, and then we'd go back to the sauna, and then we'd do a cold plunge. But and then we would have breakfast and then we'd go for a hike and then we would do breath work. So if you notice there's a theme, we would try to do movement and then we'd go into breath work. One thing that Niraj said that really stuck with me was so it's the whole idea of the body keeps the score, right?
Mm.
So when we have these emotions, they get stored in our body. So in order to get these out of our body, we have to work with our body first. And so getting your body to move, whether that's through hiking, movement, dance is a good way to activate. And I can tell you, the students that I've had in my class, I have one person that he's a breathwork junkie and he's like, and he'll go to tons of different breathworks and he's come to a couple of mine and he's like, the movement makes a huge difference. And so that's one thing that probably I've incorporated that since I went and trained with Niraj is I do that in most of my breathwork classes now where we do some kind of movement before because it helps you get into your mind faster because you've already worked through the body. But if you go fresh
Mm.
just right into breath work, you still have to work through your body to get to the mind. It still works, but I think you can get there faster if you do some movement before. And that can be any kind of movement. So I
That's
do. I
fascinating.
don't like to tell people it's dance, but I like to do tribal movements, like just getting back to what we used to be. I think it's a lost art of. Sometimes I wish I could go back like 200 years where we were living in these communities and we were around a fire and we would sing and we would dance and things were just so much simpler. I would love to be able to just to experience that. So I try to bring those things I wish I had to these breathwork journeys where it's just like, let's just let loose and just have fun together and build community, like you were talking about. I think that's a big gap that we have in general in our culture. And I especially think since COVID, a lot of the community has gone away. I think people have forgotten how to connect. I mean, I can even say with a lot of my friends, we just don't get together like we used to after
Yeah.
COVID because you adapted to being alone. I had kids that went through COVID. They've adapted to being alone. And I think it's a really unfortunate thing of COVID. And so both me and my partner, Scott, who we both own Zoetic Soul, that's one of our big things is trying to build community and trying to find these people and get people to be that community again. I mean, even 50 years ago, you saw it. When I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, it's like you all knew your neighbors. You would have neighborhood watchouts, and it's just something that's gone. And I think breathwork, speaking of breathwork, is a good way. And I try to bring those community feels back through breathwork because I think it's an important thing that we need in our culture that we've lost.
That's a really cool idea. Yeah, I didn't know doing some kind of physical exercise first kind of helps unlock that. I go swimming in the morning, and so I'm going to try breath work after swimming one of these days. I'm usually pretty out of breath.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see because I use like a full mask and everything, but so I can keep my head underwater.
Nice.
But I'm gonna
That's
give that a
cool. I've
try.
never heard of that.
I'll report back to you. It's
But
good. Yeah, it's got like a snorkel at the
swimming
top.
is a great form of breath work and meditation itself. I'm a swimmer too. And
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
think yeah, I mean, that's a great form of breath work that you're doing because you really have to train your breath when you're swimming. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I
funny
was going to
because
say
my
it's
boyfriend
almost
can't
there
swim.
already.
And he's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. Just do it. I mean, you hold your breath, you go up for some air, and you come back. I don't know.
Yeah. 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 Well, I had a hard time with it too. And I ended up buying one of those masks that it's kind of a mix of a snorkel and a mask. So it's
Oh,
literally just
cool.
one big thing. And then the snorkel comes out through the top like a narwhal or something. And it's
Wow.
great. You can just keep your head
That's
underwater the whole
cool.
time. And yeah, it's cool. It's got like a stopcock or whatever, where if you go
Yeah.
underneath the water, the
Mm-hmm.
ball sinks, and so it blocks the water from going in. It's kind of neat little trick that uh, people designed over the decades, trying to figure out how to keep water from
That's
going in your
cool.
snorkel when you go underwater. But
I will
I'm gonna
also
try that.
say breathwork in the sauna is awesome. So when I go to Vasa and I go work out, my treat is that I get to go to the sauna and I will do a breath work in the sauna. It takes
I
some getting
bet.
used to, but I love it because the heat, I think it's just one of those like grounding things when you have the heat and you've got that. I mean, my breath holds suck when I'm in the sauna and that's okay. But I really love it. That's one of my favorite places to do breath work actually.
Yeah, breathing deep in there is really nice because you get that warm air and you can feel it all the way in your
Yep.
lungs and everything, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'm
when
gonna
I
try that
trained
too.
with Niraj, we took niacin before as a detox. We would mix it in our water, and then I would be a crab for a couple hours because it makes you flush and everything. But that was one of the detoxes that we did.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's what is that? Is that B1? Well, it's one of the B vitamins, right?
No, I can't remember which bee it is. You're really
B
testing me, John.
I think B2 is riboflavin. Uh yeah.
Is it
We're
B9?
we're embarrassing uh each other. We're healthcare professionals and we
I
can't
know.
remember these
I
random
know.
names of compounds.
See, now I'm gonna have to Google it.
I actually one of my side jobs is I
It's
design
B3. We were both wrong.
B3. Ah, man.
Yep.
We're always so close yet so far.
I know.
Yeah, I'm a formulation scientist for some supplements and stuff, so I'm gonna make sure not to send this to my clients and stuff. So they're like, hey, wait a second, you have no idea what you're doing, do you? I'm like, I do, I swear. It's just people talk to me and they're like, oh, do you know about so and so? It's like crow's mane or something. I'm like, I have no idea. There's like millions of supplements at this point. It's just out of control.
Yes, there's a ton.
Too much. Well, that's an hour. So I'll let you go. I know you have
Wow, that
kids and
went
I have kids
fast.
too. So yeah, that was fast. did did I miss anything major that you wanted to bring up? This has been really cool, by the way. Very enlightening.
Good.
I've learned a lot.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think more than anything, I think for me is since I do, I think a more different approach to breath work is I would just encourage people to try different things. I love that in my classes, I'm always surprising people. They're like, I didn't know this was a thing. They're like, this was really different. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. And so I would just encourage people to try different things and try different breath works, because each one can carry a different thing. Like I say, I go to a lot of different breath works because I like to see what's out there.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just not, I mean, I think what gets all the attention is the holotropic. And I'm like, oh, there's so much more. There's so much more to breath work than just that. And that is an important piece. But learn more about like the pranayama and the breath work, and learn, because what I love is that I can control like my systems, and I can like if I'm having a stressful day at work, because I'm a director in an oncology clinic. And
Wow.
so like if I gotta have a hard conversation with someone, or I'm having a hard day, guess what I do? I go in my office and I'm breathing so that I can get my shit together for another day. Or if I have to have a conversation with my children, I mean, I've got 3 teenagers in my house. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many like simple things we can do, and it's so easily accessible. And that's what I'm always wanting people to go away from my classes is it's just like, please, like your breath is there for you to use it every day. So, anyways, that would
Yeah.
probably be the only thing. It's just venture out, try some different breath works, because there's a lot of really cool ones. Um, I really want to try the 9D. That's one I've seen a lot recently. This
I've
9D
never
breath
heard of
work. I
that
haven't
one.
tried that one yet. So I need to, yeah, there's so many different kinds. And so, but no, I'm always trying to find new classes because I think we all have something unique to offer. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's
And
it.
and everybody responds differently to different things too. So you never know what's going to tickle your third
Absolutely.
eye. Will
Yes.
awaken
And that's what
something
I
deep
always tell
inside
people.
you.
I never, right. I never want to claim that I'm going to heal people, because I think it's different for each person. Some people,
Yeah.
breath work may not do a damn thing for them, doing these kind of things. And that's okay. It might be going to a sound bath that's going to do it for them. It might be going to a cacao ceremony. There's so many different things that we can do that it's never a one size fits all approach. So dabble
Yeah.
in different things, try different things, have fun with it, because there's so many of us out there that you can do a lot of different fun things and
Hmm.
really go to cool places.
Okay, I want to ask one final question now that we've brought it up. So, do
Absolutely.
you do you think it's genetic? What do you think's going on? Because no, I agree. I was talking with somebody and I told them I had such a transformative experience doing breath work, and they did it and they were like, "No, I was just breathing heavily and I got nothing out of it." Like, what as a medical professional, I want you to give some kind of hypothesis as to what's going on. If it's certain genes, like something in your pulmonary system, or is it a nurture thing? Is it how you happen to be feeling that day? Why do some things work for some people and some things don't?
One, I think it's how they come into the experience.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer that a lot of this, I think if you don't come in open, it's going to be hard to get you past that.
Hmm.
I think it's the same with any psychedelics as well. You have to come into it with an intention. If you don't come into it with a clear intention, I think that's hard. But I mean, I personally don't think a lot. I think genetics is overhyped personally. Um, I think we have like the epigen. I mean, if you really want to get geeky, we got the epigenetics, and then you have
Yeah.
genetics, right?
Yeah.
Um, like, is it an epigenetic factor or is it a genetic factor? I don't know. And I think a lot of people, I mean, I might get hate for this, but I think a lot of people use that for excuses for why things don't work. When in reality, I think a lot of things do.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like maybe the epigenetics make it so you have to try different things. And what worked for person A didn't work for person B, but I think we can still all get to the same point. But anyways, with this guy, my bet is, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is probably a person that was like, I'm just going to come try this out. I don't think there's anything to it. And I think if people come in very closed, it's hard to open them.
Yeah.
But if they have a little bit, I mean, I think you're ex-Mormon, so you're going to understand this. You can only bring a horse to water, but they have to drink.
Yeah.
And it's just like all of,
Yeah.
I mean, I still have a lot of family in Mormonism. It's like I can tell them all the things I know, but it's not going to mean anything until they're ready to do it. And until
Yep.
they're ready to be open to that. And I think breath work is the same in a lot of these. They have to be willing and open. And if they're not, no, they're going to be like, yeah, I just breathe hard. This is stupid.
These people are lunatics. Yeah.
But right. And I'm sure there are people like that. But for someone like that, I think taking them to a different one similar to like Wim Hof. I think this is what I really like about Wim Hof. I think Wim Hof is a very masculine, and so I think it attracts a lot of masculine energy. I think it's a very masculine energy breath work. But I think that's good because I think it's broken down a lot of what males may have been. I think like this guy you were talking about, I think that that's really good for them because I think it's more like I say, it's very masculine energy in the Wim Hof. And I love Wim Hof. I think it's great. But it is a very masculine energy in that. And so I think that one is really good for those kind of people. And I think once they dabble in that and they're willing to get into that a little more, then they can maybe have better experiences going into other breath work. I've never experienced a breath work where they're doing a lot of the holotropic breathing. It's usually more of the rhythmic breathing with the breath holds is what I've experienced with Wim Hof. But that would be my guess just on what you told me and what I've experienced with people in my classes. Because I've had people like that where they're like, you can tell that they were like, well, that was weird. It's like, oh, yeah, it was. So
yeah.
I mean, it might have been weird for you, but I mean, so, but that's okay. But I think it's a lot like what we've experienced in ex-Mormonism. I think it's a similar experience.
You get what you give type of situation where it's like, if you don't think it's going to work, it's not going to. It's in that realm where you can successfully use it or block it depending on what
and honestly, thinking. I can say I've seen that with my cancer patients. Like the patients that don't think things are going to work or aren't invested in their care and aren't like, you've got to have the attitude of like, okay, that I'm going to do this treatment and I'm going to you have to have that forward thinking of what your vision is of where you want to go. And if you don't have that, it never works. Like those patients that don't have that kind of attitude, that have more of a defeatist attitude and they're not invested in their cancer care, they don't do well. So, I mean, I think it's the same everywhere.
Yeah. Even with drugs, right? A lot of drugs don't work nearly as well unless you believe in it and it lowers your cortisol levels and opens up your circulatory system so the drugs can go where it needs to go. Humans are pretty hilarious creatures, how we can kind of will things to work or not. It's like the super two-edged sword.
Absolutely.
It's bizarre.
Well, it's interesting. I remember learning in nursing school, prayer, for instance. Sorry, we're going over time. I'm going to go on a tangent, but
no, please,
like positive energy and prayers that works for healing. You know what I mean? And so that's been shown in research that people feel that and they do better when I think it's that they know people are praying, and like we come from Mormonism. So, like they're fasting for people. It's like they're sending all of this good energy to people. It's no different than going to somewhere, having your crystals and sending good energy to someone. It's all the same shtick. Just a different way to do it.
Especially if you tell them. About a week ago, I interviewed a witch, and she was talking about curses and how curses only work if you tell the person. So because then they feel it. You can't just like curse a bundle of sticks and not tell the person it's not going to work. You need to curse the sticks and then be like, aha, I've cursed you. And then they start feeling it. But the inverse is true as well, right? Where you can say, oh, I've blessed these sticks for you and it's giving you good energy. And they're like, hey, great. Thank you. Like everything's going to be just fine. Kind of, yeah. It's like you can
like the blessed olive oil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You need that physical totem, something you can picture in your mind that it's actually doing something, and you can feel it on your head, and you're like, hey, all right, things are going to turn out just fine. Everything's fine.
Totally.
Well, I think we figured out how all these things work, so we can probably end the podcast there. But thank you so much, Marie. This is really cool. I think.
I think, no, this was great.
Yeah, I learned so much about breath work. I'm a novice at it, but I need to do it more. I need to you find time to do it with kids, so I don't have an excuse. I need to find a way to do it.
I'll be honest. I have good weeks and I have bad weeks. Like there are times like that I'm not as good at it, and there's times that I might go a week or two without doing a breath work, but I always know I'm like, okay, I got to get back to this because I it does its service to me when I do it. That's like honestly, sometimes it's only 10 minutes, like because sometimes that's all I can do. So it's
Yeah,
10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes is all I usually commit because that's all I can in the mornings.
pulls you
So
out of the hardwired crazy parent mode for at least a brief few minutes.
yep. Yeah,
I
well, my
definitely.
mornings, that's like my time. So I wake up, I do my workout, and then I go do my breath work, and then after that, everyone else gets my time.
Everybody else, all the cancer patients and
Yep.
the screaming children and everybody else. Yeah, sounds like something that
Yes.
you
Uh-huh.
absolutely need. You sound like you've got a stressful life, but you seem like a very happy person. So you're on to something for sure.
Oh, I have a good life. Yeah. No, it's great. I'm really fortunate for my job. It's great, and I'm glad I get to do this on the side. Like I'm really glad that I found to be able to do this because it's a good pressure valve release and it's a good way to give.
Yeah,
I love what I can give people and the experiences that they can have. It's very empowering for me and really satisfying in a different way. So it
yeah,
scratches a different itch that I haven't been able to do, and I like it because so I didn't share this on the podcast, but when I do my meditations, I don't come prepared. I usually have an idea for a theme, but I'm just talking
really.
through, like I usually take a lot from my own experiences, and like I did a training for meditations, but it's like I am asking reflective questions and trying to just cue people and let them guide their own. So like I went and did a breathwork facilitation. I had a couple ideas like written down. Did something completely different. I got there and I'm like, no, they need something different, and then just do it. And that is so great for me because I don't get a lot of opportunity to be creative. And so this is a great way for me to like activate that creativeness that I don't always get in my life. I can also like mix the music for all of my meditations if I want. And so it's a good way to release and do something fun.
I think that's really cool. That's kind of like what directors do, the best directors anyway. It's the improv that really speaks to the human soul because you can kind of feel it out. If you rehearse things too much, it feels artificial. But if you can really get in touch with
Yeah.
the energy of the room, the fuinki, as the Japanese would say, the wind and the water, you can actually do a lot
Yeah.
more good. I like that
No,
a lot.
absolutely. And you can feel the energy. And there's times where it's like, okay, and you could just get these ideas where it's like, okay, this is what they need. And so you just dive down and do it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's not something I would have ever done like 5 year ago me. I would have had the script I would have done exactly. And but when you do it this way, it's much more authentic and you can usually come from a more vulnerable place if you come
Yeah.
unscripted.
I think people can sense that too. Scripted stuff, human beings are so good at sniffing that stuff out. And I think it probably can kill the mood in the
Yeah,
room unless you're really good at masking it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I can
smart.
go to Chat GPT and I can have it make me a whole like script for a breath work, but it's
Yeah,
not going to be any good. And I can tell
they're
you
gonna
my
smell it.
meditations are a lot better since I moved to this. Oh, totally.
Yeah,
Because it's not coming from me, it's coming from someone else. And
yeah,
so having that like place of like vulnerability and connection, you know?
yeah. And AI doesn't have a soul, so you're not gonna do very good soul work with
Right.
AI. It's godless robots
No,
gonna
totally.
come for us all. Well, I'll put a link. I'll put a link to your to Zoetic Soul in the subsection here, if that's okay, and so people can go to your
Absolutely.
sessions. I highly recommend it. I had a really good experience. Are you still doing it at the same place?
Yep. In
Same
my
place.
boyfriend's
Okay.
house in his
And we're
basement. Cheap overhead.
cheap overhead. Yeah. I mean, what's more
Yeah.
personal than that? Inviting a bunch of strangers
No,
into your home.
totally.
You're like very trusting. As long as they don't steal your
Oh,
shit,
well,
I
it's
guess
it's
it's fine.
fun and we No, totally. Well, we rebuilt the whole basement together. We did the flooring there, so it was a labor of love. So we
Planned it
like
all
having a
out.
space where people can come. And then I don't have to work with studios to get there the day and stuff. I'm like, I can just do whatever I want. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. And when I mean, it was just as good as any studio. So well, well done.
Well, good.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Marie. And yeah, hopefully I'll if you discover any more secrets, please come back to the podcast. This has been very
Okay.
informative, and yeah, any other breathwork things, I want to talk about it again.
Awesome. It was great being here, John. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
Okay. Bye.